bombs of Bomb Warrior.
Yeah, and talking about Bomb Warrior, that's exactly what Casie is playing in this version of Bomb Warrior that I prefer at the moment. Perhaps you could make an argument.
He so nearly got that all-important victory.
We talk a lot about Hunter Ace's success on the Tour Stop series last year, but Casie was right up there with him in terms of number of top 16s.
He was the most top 16ers, I think, drawing with Hunter Ace at the end.
Exactly, and the difference really was that Hunter Ace was going a little bit deeper once you hit the single elimination stage. But Casie, time and again, proved his consistency, and that's been the case for him for his entire Hearthstone career.
Absolutely.
He's been very consistent, he's been near the top, and just hasn't had the victories that all these players tend to chase. You know, almost anytime you talk to a player that competes all the time, they don't tell you about their second places, they don't tell you about their third places. All they talk about is how badly they want to win. They would take washouts time and time again as long as they could secure wins afterwards.
However, if you crave the adoration of Lorinda, getting those top 16s is really how you get his favor.
I mean, that's a feat, I'm telling you. It's like Hearthstone is about consistency.
It is. It absolutely is.
You're not going to win every time. It's any given Sunday, and it's the fact that you keep getting the opportunity to have those big wins. That's the marquee of a good player.
I fully agree, my friend.
And so in this matchup, again, we saw Board Control have very strong ways to fight for board and keep pressure going. But in his Magic and Silver name, it just got checked over and over and over again. Casie has the kind of hand that with a couple of key draws feels like it's going to be in that same position right now.
Do you want to play a game? I will give you a crisp, clean high five if you can tell me what the card to the left of the coin is.
Shield Slam. Nice. Nailed it after I could read half the text. There's a lot of other cards that say, for each armor you have.
Reckless Flurry? I guess the wording's a little bit different. But here we go. Just curving out very nicely here for Casie at the start of the game, which is, I would say, expected against this Hunter. It's not like the previous meta before we hit this standard rotation, where you had, obviously, the Dire Moles, the Crackling Razor Moles. You curved out very effectively indeed. Now it's much more of a mid-game deck that relies on the combos of cards like Springport and Timberwolf in order to be pulling back the board.
Yeah, I mean, Casey's pace of play is going to match his opening hand here as well. Casie, very well known for being a particularly fast player. And in fact, in the times I've watched Casie, sometimes he's gotten to high-pressure situations and slowed himself down because of that. And at times, that has caused him to rethink situations or overthink situations. But at the same time, playing too quickly it has. And it's, it feels to me like it's difficult to find that middle ground when you're so used to playing that fast at a high level.
Yeah, and it's one of Casey's, I would say, biggest advantages. Like you say, he doesn't overthink himself. He knows that he's naturally so talented at the game that he will be able to see the right lines of play. And also, gives your opponent less time, puts the pressure on them to be making those plays without having your turn to think as well.
And sometimes, when you just have the nuts, it looks like you just have the nuts and you're super confident. Yep. You know, I think Casie, with or without a hand like this, would have been playing at the same pace. And honestly, like, I feel like the momentum of a matchup can change. Like, the longer my opponent tends to take for something, as soon as they have that mediocre play, I feel like I smell blood in the water. And I go, ooh, time to get aggressive. I'm going in.
And, it really does work well for him. I think in all the time I've cast and watched him, I can remember 2 times where he has made a blunder because of playing so fast. Like a strict bad play, which I've seen many other players who play a lot slower make many more times.
Like me.
A prime example. Slow and bad, one might say. Not me, because I love it.
It's just a great description of my career. Casie, I mean, this was... you can't have a better opening than this, really.
Yep. Yes. I mean, if your plan is to curve out, then yes, this is the absolute dream, which is obviously not the plan in every matchup. However, here, I'd take this. I'd be very happy.
What matchup do you not want to curve out in with Bomb Warrior? I'm actually curious about that, because I can't really think of one. Maybe you forego the 1-drop against, like, Mage?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, it's not so much that curving out is bad, it's that you would rather have other stuff in your hand is more good than curving out against, which I would say, arguably Mage, because if they go Giant plus Conjurer's Call, you can't beat that, really, just by curving out. You need the removal cards like Super Collider.
So the top of the curve is Super Collider.
Well, yes.
That's the ideal. I'm not saying like
yeah.
that's what you're going to do. I'm saying that would be the ideal situation. Interesting.
Now.
I've never tried to not mulligan for a curve.
I mean, it's probably just bad. It was more of a passing comment that got way more light shone on it than was probably deserved.
Wrench Caliber drawn. My goodness. Casie, slow down!
This is, of course, the Casie special, where you are not allowed to see the card he draws before he's played it and ended his turn.
Bomb number 1. Orange is going to have to get busy in this game.
He is. However, that Die Frenzy pickup is what size of draw?
It's pretty big. I
Fairly
actually
large.
think this might have been the best draw in Orange's deck. And honestly, I think here he should be going for Vicious Scalehide and a Dire Frenzy.
I could not agree more. He's clearly under a lot of pressure. That's how you heal up. It also gives you a huge amount of board control, and you've got the Master's Call to redraw it once you've done it.
I guess the one caveat to it is timing. You know, think back to the Tice match where Tice was able to neutralize Bunny Hopper's defense because of the timing of pressure. Just because it's the best play right now, it doesn't mean it doesn't even get even better later on. If he does it going into Casey's turn 7, does Casie always play Blastmaster Boom in that instance?
Yeah, okay. But then if he... Oh, so going before his Blastmaster Boom rather than in response to it. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
because here, Casie really wants to Shield Slam this.
Yes,
and if he has Shield Slam, that's going to work. So now he gets to go into Blastmaster Boom, not necessarily fearing Scalehide on board. Orange is now at the mercy of having it.
I mean, you still get strong follow-up. I fully see your point that when you have a rush lifesteal minion like Vicious Scalehide or Ziliax, obviously most famously, you want to be immediately getting that lifesteal when you play it. But I think there's still such strong follow-up for Orange that this is a perfectly reasonable line of play. You can even redraw and play another one right here if he wants to with the Master's Call. Just for the 2 mana cost, assuming he doesn't draw one of his other beasts, which he's very likely to get the 4/6 Scalehide.
There's actually 4 total unique beasts left in the deck for Orange. It's Vicious Scalehide, Timberwolf, Springpaw, and Shimmerfly.
But Vicious Scalehide kind of counts as 2 different ones because there's this other small one and the 3 bigger ones in the deck.
Ah, gotcha.
So, like, in terms of getting a buffed up Scalehide, there's kind of 5 options. But this buffed up Scalehide is more likely to be found than the smaller one because you can't get 2 of the same beast.
Yeah, I like the Snake Trap here because you anticipate Casie killing your Timberwolf. That gives you more things in play to fight against the Boom. And so he's now delayed the Boom from Casie, but Casie still has a strong response. But now Orange gets to answer with Master's Call and get a payoff from Vicious Scalehide.
And look at this as well, perfectly sized to deal with this Dynamatic as well with the Vicious Scalehide.
We're looking at 4 bombs left in the deck for Orange, is that right?
So 1 was drawn.
He had 2 from the initial Clockwork, he had 1 from another Clockwork, and 2 more from a Wrench Caliber. So scratch one of those because it's drawn, so that's 4 left.
I guess 4 left, yeah.
So Master's Call thins out a lot of beasts from the deck. At what point do you want to use tracking to try to track over bombs? Or if that even a necessary consideration?
I always forget about the tracking over bombs. And that adds an even more interesting thought, is that if you do it before Blastmaster Boom, they don't know how good their Boom is going to be. With 4 bombs left in deck, it's likely to still fill up the board.
I love weird situations
But
like this.
it's niche. It's pretty niche, but it could mess with Casey's head a little bit.
I mean, right now, 1 out of 4 cards in Orange's deck is a bomb.
Now.
Yes.
1 out of 5, excuse me?
1 out of 5, yeah. Which is why I would imagine he's going to try and heal back up on this turn.
Ah. I like this.
Job done.
What, playing rolling the Leo?
I was kind of looking at the Shimmerfly.
Oh, okay.
Because of, this to me feels like a kind of desperate spot. And I'm like, I really need to get something that makes an impact. But the next turn, he's able to attack with Scalehide and Leok.
Yeah.
And in the face of Blastmaster Boom, can just add Shimmerfly to the board to try to absorb a bomb hit.
Yeah. And this really is just so crucial here for Casie. Remember, we were actually doing a test Skype call with him a couple days ago. He was saying just how important he believes Blastmaster Boom to be in this matchup. It is the core of beating Hunter, because eventually they will fatigue you with the ability to go Obviously, the Vicious Scalehide into Dire Frenzy, replaying those Dire Frenzies with Zul'jin afterwards as well. You got to slam this down as early as possible and try and just blow them up.
Another Vicious Scalehide found, but one tracking to over as well.
Which means that is all of them gone.
But you have to have this extra health, I think.
Yep.
And so now the question is sequencing. To me, it looks like Shimmerfly first, and then start the attacks.
Well, why does that? Oh, sorry, to soak up a bomb hit. Yeah, sorry, I understand. Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm not necessarily convinced that you're attacking bombs though. Like Blastmaster Boom is a 7/7.
So he can set up a one.
Leok and Vicious Scalehide take that out.
Yeah. Well, I was looking if you can go for a deadly shot. 1 out of 4 is the best you can get, but that's just too unlikely.
I like taking out the boom here.
Yep.
I'm going to risk the boom getting hit here. Oh, wow, the Leok. That was a scary moment for me.
I think it was right. I think it was just right. It was so unlikely. What was that, 1 out of 12 for it to hit the 1 out of 3 and 1 out of 4 down?
Yeah. Bomb Warrior makes you consider all the tiny things.
It does. Yeah. It's the kind of the order in the randomness that occurs. You have to
interesting.
Make it work in your favor.
He's going to flip the Dynomatic. Says 50% chance to kill the Vicious Scalehide, 50% chance to draw a third card.
I guess. I mean, I guess this is kind of, I don't know, is it better in a way? You get more immediate face damage because you can sacrifice off one of the bombs?
I think you just want to cash in on the Accolade.
Yeah, that's obviously the difference. Oh, does he want to activate Rat Trap? Oh, it's... Yeah.
I don't think you mind.
It's a rather unimportant town crier, though, wouldn't you say?
I think it's an unimportant Rat Trap. I think the job has been done for Casie. He's gotten past that point. He has Dr. Boom in hand. I think the Dr. Boom in hand is the reason he plays the Town Crier. Then the Zilliax to the deck and keep drawing your business.
But, so next turn, maybe not next turn, but at some point, Dr. Boom Hero Power is a very likely play, I would say. At which point, fitting in the 1 mana is very easy then. I guess this just gives you more options because it gets the Zilliax immediately to magnetize on. I guess he's going to have to play 3 cards at some point, right? So...
Darok's flabbergasted.
It was a weird play. I was not expecting him to do that because it just gives Orange a little bit more removal. But, I mean, when you're at over starting health total...
And your opponent's got 1 minion in play and you have 5.
A fair point.
Yeah. Are they going to deadly shot you?
Now.
You know, the boom bots, activating the Rat Trap while you have the boom bots in play, I think is the ideal situation.
I guess so. I mean, I would say the ideal situation is to do it when it's not the last move of your turn, so that you can still interact with the rat and deal with it immediately.
I really want to disagree with you here, but I can't.
Well, I'm just right.
That's why I want to disagree with you.
Well, I mean, the ideal way to deal with Rat Trap is with Kazan Mystic. Unfortunately, we're in standard. Yeah, this is why you get the Zilliax. All right, I've come over to Team Casie and Admirable.
It just didn't matter. That's what really happened. Casie did the work in the...
Also,
look, Casie had the nuts in this game. That's going to happen in cards. That's a reason you play decks, is because they can have the nuts draw. Would you play a deck that couldn't get the nuts draw?
What, that was really powerful but always drew its cards in the worst order?
No, a deck that just, like, it did not have a way to just get a draw where you go, I did the thing, I'm going to win.
Oh no, those decks suck.
No, those decks are awesome. No. They're decks like Rogue and Bomb Warrior and Mage.
What are you talking about? Rogue can go coin, prep, party, Edwin.
That is the nuts.
Well, you're saying, why would I play a deck that can't draw the nuts?
Right. Why would you play a deck that cannot draw the nuts?
No, I wouldn't. That's what I said. Those decks suck. The decks that don't have a nut draw.
Oh, I see. I did it backwards. Dang it, I can't disagree with you again. How are you right twice?
All good decks in Hearthstone have a potential to just blow up.
I guess, to be fair, you've been right every single time. I just happen to disagree on some of those. And all this jibber jabber, all this jibber jabber is because Orange is not going to win this game. Like, the ship has sailed.
There we go. Bomb tracked over. Dire Frenzy. It's one of the key cards in the matchup, undeniably, because Yeah, he's still got the second Vicious Scale Hide in his deck. Get the healing once again with that.
I'm looking at like Animal Companion, a Huffer, Dire Frenzy it, and just keep drawing Huffers.
I like that. I like that very much.
I guess a 7/7 taunt will do.
A 3-mana 7/7 is reasonable, one might say.
It's even more powerful than in the past. However, Orange has to close the game from this position, and it is a long shot to say the least.
Defend the gates.
Well, more weaponized pinatas could make that active.
So that says from another class, not non-rogue.
From another class.
Okay, so it wouldn't replay all the warrior cards.
I'm 99% sure.
I agree with you. I'm pretty sure you're right. That would be cool, though. That would be cool. You can't disagree with me.
Nah, I think it'd be dumb.
Ugh.
Casie just relaxed, chilling out.
Just playing his biggest guy every turn.
Just a big old 6/6 for 8 mana.
Oh. How disappointing.
That wasn't disappointing. Look, I have no idea what she's capable of.
More than that.
Oh, okay.
So what are we looking at here? One Rat Trap's already in play, I believe, right?
You kill the 6/6, I think. Pretty straightforward.
So you just played 5, basically, there.
Yeah.
Really.
Assassinate, Fireball. Sabotage, whatever card you want to name that blows up your opponent's lone minion.
Yeah.
A crazy Zul'jin turn that can make this happen. It's pretty much got to be Zul'jin, and Zul'jin's got to go nuts.
And here we are, one bomb away from just dying on the spot here. This game, it's not over, but
it's been over for a while.
It's been over
but
for a
it's not
while.
Technically over.
Yes. That's a lot more bombs, but it's also a lot of damage he's tanking. So if everything misses here, oh no, because he kills the 5. Nah, he never dies.
Tracking over 2 bombs into Zul'jin. Zul'jin tracks over the rest of the bombs. You Dire Frenzy something crazy and get back into it. That's the only way.
I'm with you. Let's do it. Let's live in that world where that happens.
How many kill commands does Orange play? Could he just get like a weird double kill command base turn?
He's already played one, right?
That's what I mean.
Like
Zul'jin obviously is the key card to have happen.
Yes, of course.
So can he win through that? I mean, that's a good draw for Casie.
None of these kill yet, even though we can obviously rush in, get the 3 to face. 1 damage off Lethal.
So Casie could, technically play around some nonsense here with the Rusty Recycler.
Okay.
I don't remember if Orange has played 2 kill commands or not, and I don't think he has. So it could cast Animal Companion into Huffer, Dire Frenzy the Huffer, and kill command Casey's face, but it has to be Zul'jin. And it's not.
That's not Zul'jin, can't clear the board, can't kill his opponent. Even if the bomb isn't drawn, kaboom! From Dr. Boom Mad Genius. We'll close it out anyway. Casie has this one on lock.
Masterful.
It is kind of crazy that Orange did have like an out there.
He had an out, as slim as it may have been.
Note, which I actually didn't realize about Casey's deck. And I don't think I've realized about any time that I've played this variant of it. There's no Omega Assembly in the initial deck. I actually, because I remember I copied this deck code off of Twitter.
Right. I did not
and
notice
I've
that
not
either.
noticed at all that card was missing until literally just now.
That's one of the cards you just don't even bother looking for because you assume it's core.
I remember building decks in Hearthstone way back when like Miracle Rogue was there, And I remember I'd get my Miracle Rogue deck built, and I'd be like, how did I fit in all these extra cool cards? And I'm like, I forgot to put in Auctioneer and Preparation because I just assumed they were here already.
Yeah, it's like my my first ever Reno Jackson game where I realized I was just playing one copy of every card for no benefit at all. Just didn't put him in.
Bluff value.
Yeah, exactly.
They were always fearing Reno Jackson and misplayed horrendously as a result.
Some real galaxy brain plays there from me.
Orange facing down a little bit of an early curve here. Not an ideal opener for Orange, I would say.
This is the way that this Hunter deck always feels for me, though. I have to be honest.
I wish you could see Darok right now. If there's any way we could have gotten picture-in-picture right there, that would have been the time for it. Darok leans as close into the monitor, chin as low to the desk as possible to that play. And I do the same.
Size? Oh, it was just hand size.
It's strictly hand size.
Okay. Yeah, I was leaning in close.
Can't you just wait? Do this? I guess he doesn't want to waste the coin. Okay. All right, I get it. It's not. It's Galaxy Brain. That's what it is.
This game is just full of absolute expanding brain plays.
The problem here for Orange is that once again, Casie has drawn that curve, and Orange is in trouble in this spot. Like, I'm actually worried that he's just going to die here. He does have Vicious Scalehide and Dire Frenzy, but that's going to require coin, and he can't really load anything up this turn.
Casey's pretty good at curving out with this deck. I gotta hand it to him, and it's a direct result of the fact that he's cutting cards like Omega Assembly. Instead, he's putting in double Elec. He's got all the 1-drops that he can fit in, as well as just the perfect curve opportunity, double Wrench Caliber. He's just going to be doing a lot of damage.
Only one copy of Town Crier, but
I mean,
again, like the games of Hearthstone,
the good amount.
They go this way sometimes. Sometimes you just need the good early cards. Like when you play against Rogue and they have Evil Miscreant 2 games in a row. Like that, it's just a card. Like I don't think Casie needed the 1-drops for this game to look good for him. Coin Elec into Clockwork is enough of a curve to look substantial.
Yeah. And I think the really scary thing for Orange isn't even necessarily the board he's facing down now, which can be dealt with through the form of Vicious Scalehide, Coin, Dire Frenzy. He can heal up and get a bit of removal. It's the Blastmaster Boom that is there yet again for Casie to follow up in just a couple turns' time.
Orange going to load up a bunch of 1-drops and say go. This is a spot where he does get to mitigate a tiny bit of damage by not trading in. So his ultimate game plan is to be able to have Vicious Scalehide recover in the face of Casie not having an answer. But this does allow him to develop, and Unleash the Hounds gets picked up.
Off of Shimmerfly, okay.
Mind you, Unleash the Hounds has been cut from Orange's deck.
So Unleash, Coin, Animal Companion, if Huffer was to be rolled, he could clear...
I think you go for the Scalehide this turn, and the reason why is simply because you need to draw more Scalehides.
Yeah, you're just dying. I mean, Unleash the Hounds will, in all the worst case scenarios for you, Unleash the Hounds will continue to be good, and in all the non-worst case scenarios for you, you're not going to need it because you're in a good position anyway.
Yeah.
So I think I can understand that.
If you think about one of the ideal answers from Casie as well in this spot, it's going to be Shield Slam, it's going to be Militia Commander, or it's going to be Ziliax that fights back against the Vicious Scalehide. The Ziliax is the best of them. When the Ziliax come down, it adds another minion to the board, which, can compound with the Unleash pressure. I think Orange can fight this, but it's going to require some fortune on his part.
It really is. And so now, Animal Companion, Unleash the Hounds. This definitely feels like the time to be going for that.
It's a Misha. Misha's still pretty good here.
That's fine.
You're able to clear off 3 minions with Unleash the Hounds.
You're very happy with this.
As you mentioned,
I'd say that might even be the best outcome, actually.
The big problem is that Blastmaster Boom is on deck.
Yes. Which will be summoning 2 sets of boom bots, so 4 overall, I believe. With the Elec into...
There's the 3/3 instead of keeping extra minions around. That protects the Misha. Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's what I was looking at. You just want to clear off the most amount of attack possible.
Yeah, and Casie here with 3 bombs in Orange's deck needs to consider the value of a 2/4 versus the value of an extra Boombot, and I would almost certainly take the Boombot in this instance.
Has he got 3? I thought it was the Elec into Clockwork Goblin, so just 2.
Was it just the 2?
I think it might have been just the 2, but again, my bomb tracking skills have needed some work over the weekend, that's for sure. Yeah,
okay.
Just
My head is melding with game one because it happened at such a rapid pace. Oh, of course. Oh, now the bombs get drawn.
In a very timely fashion as well there for Casie.
Yeah, so Orange in real trouble here.
And what can he do? He's just getting stomped. Casey's face, that is the face of a man who's just gone Blastmaster Boom on curve twice.
With coin, with Alec, with Clockwork.
Who to shoot?
This is the situation where Casie taught me a word in German for this exact situation, which is lecker schmecker.
What does that mean?
Yummy.
Not face. Good for Orange. Face, bad for Orange. Lethal.
That's just game.
Casie, 2 games to 0 and can't help but laugh. And Orange just does not have the fight in his hand to fight off Casie.